Hi everyone and welcome to the video. I'm here with Chef Pascal, which is a master chef on making little vegetable garnish. So we're going to show you different way of making some kind of flowers here that you could use after to decorate your food, your buffet, your platters, whatever comes in mind for you. I'm sure you'll find a use for those. How are you, Chef Pascal?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I'm very happy for you to be here, and I'm glad my subscribers are going to be able to enjoy one of your demonstrations. Thank you.
Thank you. Today we're going to do a few little flowers from some simplicity to a little bit more complex. So try to keep it simple. First of all, I'm going to start with the carrots. It's going to be a little easier. I'm going to peel it first. So remove the peel. It looks a little bit fresher, and make sure that I go all the way up to the tip. Now I'm going to use my paring knife, very simple, and I'm going to cut this the same way I'm sharpening a pencil, with 4. Now the problem with bigger carrots is that they're very more fragile, they'll break a lot easier, so you got to be very careful. So again, as I will peel a pencil or sharpen a pencil, like so, and then the cuts not all the way to the bottom. This is a bit bigger because it's easier for you to see, and what we have to do in the bottom is to break it right off. So when you break it right off, it's a nice point that should be able to break. Now if your carrot is not fresh, it's going to bend, so it's going to have a lot more difficulties to break it off. Okay, a nice little one. I make it a little bit bigger. This was easier for you guys to see. So it could be a little bit deeper, a little bit more smaller. Now to do the other one here, this one is very easy as well to do, and this is actually the same one made with turnips, and I actually colored with food coloring, which I will do a little bit later. So to do this, get a section of the carrots, approximately maybe 2 inches in length, and I'm going to square it off like so at an angle with a taper towards me. Okay, now it give me 4 straight edge. Then I will then cut like so, and try to get the cut even. This way you have a flower that's a little bit more even shape, and again try to twist this off without breaking anything, like this. Now sometimes you have to help finishing the little flowers by using your paring knife to remove the excess from the bottom, just like this. Just be very careful that you don't break anything else. Okay, and the best thing you could do is then to put those items into cold water overnight. What happened is that the cold water will make your vegetable a little bit more flexible, and they will curve backward usually to open the petal, so it's going to look a little bit more attractive. Now I'm going to trim this a little bit more on the bottom, and you have it here. So you can have a different size and different vegetable with different color. Now repeat the same thing that I did with the carrot, the turnips, and this way I can show you how to dye it with the natural food coloring. Take a piece of turnip. Again, I could square it off a little bit. I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller. Again, make sure your turnip is nice, fresh. Sometimes the turnips are very old and very flexible. It's not going to work very well. So I tape this on both sides, and cleaning up as I go. Do the same thing as I did with the carrot. You know, just like this. and twist this one off. It's a little easy on this one. I will taper the bottom to make it look like a little flower at the end. And this will open up again to keep them for a few days in cold water. They'll stay at least about a week if you change the water every day. And I have here a little bit of a water just with a little bit of food coloring that I mix together, and with the toothpicks I will dip my flour right into the liquid. Try not to use your finger, they get very stained after a while and it's kind of hard to remove. So a little bit of toothpicks, move it around, and there we go. So it's nice little yellow, and it will stay you know, quite a bit of time. I will let it dry out before I put them on the plate. Okay, now I have done those 3 flowers, and I'm going to work with the radish. I kind of like this little flower here. It's very easy to do, and it will spread open when you leave it in the water, again, in cold water overnight. To do that, try to pick a radish that's fresh, hard. I have the stems on it, and I have a nice top here, so I'm going to cut this bottom flush, make sure it stays upright, and I will cut a little bit off the top here as well. And what I'm going to do is that, keep it on your cutting board with your peri knife, sharp knife. I'm going to cut, but not all the way through, slices. 1, 2, 3. I'm about 3/4 of the way down. I repeat the same thing 2 more times. 1, 2, 3. I got my hands off the table, this way I have better reach. And the last time. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to remove the center with a pastry tip. It's round, and I will substitute the white with the piece of carrot with the same size and the same pastry tip. Not too deep. The key here is to try to remove the turnips here as neatly as possible without damaging the circle that we just created with the pastry tip. So you don't have to go too deep, but it have to be nice and round. Now I'm taking the piece of the carrot, and with the same pastry tip I will cut a piece off and then trim this to fit the hole that I just created in the radish. I cut this a little bit too deep, but that's okay. I will adjust it as I need to here. Now it doesn't have to be that deep, so I'm going to cut this with my peri knife to even it out, and then add this piece here, and that will be nice looking. So again, leave it in cold water in the fridge overnight will allow those little petals to flare up, to open up. I just made that one so it could have stayed in the water a little bit longer, cold water. Now for the most delicate one, the rose, you have to pick a vegetable that's fresh, of course, and brown. And I'm going to keep the stems, and that will look like the real stems from the roses. Now cut the top off, and I'm going to make a cone shape with the top. And the reason for that is very simple, is that as I cut my petal from my roses, this top will keep away from me. If I keep it straight, I'm going to have a problem separating my petals. So this is very important that you do that. Okay, now with my sharp peri knife, and I do like this one because it's very light, I'm going to make the first row of petal which has the color. So I'm usually go for odd number 5. Then changing the size, I will cut this first row of petal, the right underneath here, you're going to keep a steady motion. Then remove it. So that my first row, and I will repeat the process until I get all the way to the end. Now the next row of petal will be in between the one I created before at the same angle. And again, remove a little bit of the excess turnips right behind that second row of petal. And keep repeating the process. It's not difficult, but it requires a little bit of a practice. And again, until I finish the radish. Now remove the next row. Sometimes I don't see where I made my first cut, so it's kind of a tricky. You got to keep an eye on things. You got to keep the same angle. I repeat the process, and you don't want to cut too far deep. So you're going to keep cutting the excess off. I'm cutting the top off just to get this out of the way, even them out a little bit here. And again, further toward the center. You got to control the knife motion. That's sometimes the hard part. You don't want to cut too deep, then you cut the petal completely off. Not deep enough, you can't remove it. So you got to go very, very slow. Now for the center, we're going to cut the remaining of the turnips, and I will work toward the center. I'm changing the angle of the knife a little bit. This is where the flower looks like it's closing in. And removing the center. And again. Again. Until you finish it off. There we go. And you have another flower, another rose. And if you want, you can dye one of them, which I'll use the same water than I used earlier. Give you a nice little contrast into the flowers. So now you have something that you could do with one flower creating two. Thank you for watching, and if you do like, just press the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, just do so. Thank you.